This is Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search from my site. I will pause again. Read the words of Adam Strom. Another lengthy pause. I will read my comment. The words of Adam Strom. I have a new mantra. MATFA. It stands for Making America Trump Free Again. With the passing of Justice Ginsburg and the 100% hypocritical Mitch McConnell leading the Senate, I expect new conservative justice to be seated on the court quite rapidly. This will certainly mean an end to women's reproductive rights, an end to affordable care and medical insurance for everyone, or for anyone with a pre-existing condition. The cost of health care will likely triple. If this happens, even more Americans will be toting weapons, which will lead to many, many more shootings. Workers' rights will basically be gone. Voting rights will be gutted. Gay marriage will end. The death penalty, state-sponsored murder, will increase. The Supreme Court will be totally imbalanced with a 6-3 conservative majority hell-bent on turning the clock back a minimum of 100 years. To all you glorious, ignorant Trump supporters out there who do not understand the world enough to realize the terror you have wrought, I pity you. I pity your children who have to grow up in a world where hate is the key factor, where inequality is the must, where justice is only for the rich, where clean air and water is a luxury, not a right, and where health care is also only for the rich. This very, very dark America. And for the first time in 52 years, I'm incredibly scared of the future. Now, many will say I'm being hyperbolic, but let's look at what has already happened. Betsy DeVos has basically gutted public education and is making it near impossible for higher education to become affordable. Ben Carson has gutted housing for the poor. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has been made moot. The Labor Relations Board has only heard one case in the past 12 months, despite having over 1,400 cases pending. Gun violence has been steadily rising, the wealth gap steadily increasing, and the U.S. Senate refuses anything except for appointing conservative judges and passing continuing funding bills. They're not even considered any new laws that come from a duly elected House of Representatives, and there have been more than 300 laws passed by the House that have not even been discussed by the Senate. Our country is broken. I do not believe electing Biden will fix it. The only chance for America has to go down a very dark path that history can teach is totally change the direction we must be headed. We must get McConnell out. We must elect Biden. We must take control of the Senate. We must get America back to a standing in the world of respect. I fear that too many have been conned by the fake talking points that come from places like Fox News, The Nation Review, OAN News, and other sources that mostly report fake stories and twist their stories into pretzels to make others believe that a 17-year-old killing 2 innocent people is an act of heroism, or that shooting a man in the back 7 times in front of his children is permissible, or that a company can fire an employee who refuses to drive a company vehicle because the brakes are faulty. I am not being hyperbolic or hysterical. I am simply looking at what we are becoming, and it horrifies me. In a world where I got mine, beep you, is the norm, everyone ends up suffering. I hope we can avoid getting there because we are only a few exits from there and speeding up rapidly. End of words from Adam Strom. Beginning my comment. Be sure, Adam, no thing you've said is wrong. Exaggerated, embellished, maybe, but not wrong. Frank Sinatra's mother once performed abortions in Hoboken. Mrs. Sinatra provided an alternative to pregnant mothers who needed it. Mrs. Sinatra did not perform late-term abortions. Mrs. Sinatra was that safe place a pregnant Hoboken woman could turn to in time of need. Mrs. Sinatra was that place a few Hoboken women found in their time of need. Mrs. Sinatra was smart enough to know A baby with the right to be born was not a fertilized egg in a woman who just missed her first period. With all good intention and a calm hand and a warm heart, Mrs. Sinatra was an amateur, and she took legal risks of her own and deadly risks for her patients. I am a liberal who wants no late-term abortions and wants no dangerous amateur abortions. I am also a realist who knows the politics of our country is incapable of finding and legislating the right balance of the pendulum, and instead we swing between two disagreeable places on an important issue in human rights. Legal, safe abortions must remain legal and safe, and we're sure to have more acting as Mrs. Sinatra with amateur methods. Adam, you are right to mention Mitch McConnell because he is one of the biggest barriers to finding balance. Mitch McConnell is one of the biggest barriers to finding a middle place on the nation's pendulum. Without the proper time to feel the sadness of the death of the great American RBG, I find myself writing the next chapter when her body remains freshly dead. Adam, you are not being bombastic. You are not being hyperbolic. Rather, you are being an American with concern for fellow citizens and the future of our nation. In contrast, I feel Trump supporters are not thinking broadly and rather hold fast to Trump's unequal love for them because it feels so good. It's like an addiction they'll hold fast to regardless. This has been Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, a restful night's sleep. Ciao.